Hello and welcome. My name is Sean, uh, here, and my name is not 99. That would be a great name for a child, I'm sure. There we go. You can see my name now. Hey, everyone. My name is Sean. I'm an actor in New York City. I'm going to be talking to you tonight about working on set and kind of going through lots of different things. You can always talk to me in the Q&A button. You can ask questions. You can say hi. You can tell me where you're zooming in from. So I'm Sean, and I'm zooming in from Brooklyn, New York, the good old New York City. And Willa says hello. Hello, Willa. Welcome. Um, yes, and Denise is here, and I'm glad you made it too, and all is well for me. I'm glad you've been busy. That's good to hear. Hey, Kai, welcome back. And from Willa's from uh, Waukesha, Wisconsin. Lots of W's. I like that. Willa from Waukesha, Washington, Wisconsin. And we've got Virginia. Thank you for thinking I'm a handsome soul. I am warm even though it's freezing, and it's going to get even colder in New York tomorrow. So, yeah, for everyone in the United States, because I know people zoom in from other regions, including Canada, just know that there's going to be crazy weather. So, from Texas all the way up to New England, there's going to be crazy weather this weekend. So, want everyone to be safe and don't drive if you don't have to. Michaela is saying hi with lots of eyes. Hey, Michaela. We've got Edwin from Dallas, Texas. You probably have heard to be careful because an ice storm in Texas is a very different thing. We've got, I think it's Tanya from Arizona. And then we've got Bill watching from Connecticut. But your last name is spelled Maine, so I thought you were watching from Maine. We've got Tessa in the Outer Banks, North Carolina. Welcome. We've got Keith, right here in Brooklyn. All right, we're neighbors. We've got Chantel from Kissimmee, Florida. And welcome, Willa. Um, and we've got Sherry Lynn from DeLand, Florida. I'm probably saying it wrong. You're from DeLand, Florida at the moment, but you're from Alberta. Welcome. Michaela's from upstate New York and she's so scared of the storm. It's gonna be crazy. So you just gotta prepare and not go out and do stuff. Harrison is in from Arizona. We've got Shannon from Nebraska. I'm good. How y'all doing? And we've got James from Kentucky. Nice to meet you. Thanks for being here, James. We've got Harrison. Welcome, Harrison. Etienne from South Africa, located in New York City and Charlotte. Well, welcome, Etienne. Um, we've got Virginia says it's really cold here. It says a lot of snow coming. I know we're gonna get like over a foot of snow, and that's a lot for New York City. So. We haven't had that in a while. So we've got Taja from Columbus, Ohio. Welcome, Ohio State. That's not where you are specific in Columbus, Ohio, but I just know that's where Ohio State is. I know a lot of people from went there. We've got Bob from Port Hueneme, California. I think that's how it's pronounced. I don't know. Leslie from Cameron Park, California. Welcome, Leslie. And I got your name right. All right. Tanya. And Jody is from Blanchard. Welcome. We've got Jessica from Hudson Valley. Welcome, not far. Nicole from Vancouver, British Columbia. Welcome our friends to the north. We've got Steve. Oh, welcome, Steve. Good to see you. Good to know you're here. I can't see anyone. I'm having a good week. I am. Uh, and we've got Edwin is living in Eastern Europe this summer. All right. Congrats. That's fun. We've got Sky in Denver. And I know Outer Banks is going to get hit with the ice. And you just moved there. You're trying to get away from the cold of Tennessee. Just know it's always cold everywhere. All right. If you are just arriving, you can always um, let me know where you're zooming from. If not, then I'm just going to get started. So, some of you may have been here for this before. Rick from Atlanta. Welcome, Rick. Some of you may have been to been to one of my workshops before. I only do so many of them. Like I only have so many things that I teach, just hoping that I can reach as many people as possible because not everyone takes the same one. But also, none of my workshops are exactly the same. So hopefully you'll get something out of it, even if you've been here for this one before. So today is about working on set, and I'm talking about a set that is a film, television, or commercial set, one where you're filming. Working on set for theater is very different. I haven't done that for a long time, so I would not be the one to be able to give you all the details. I kind of remember working on set for theater, but there's just lots of different rules and regulations. So, let's say that you audition and it's great and they love you and they have you do a callback and they're like, we love you even now, even more. And then they say, you're booked. First part of working on set is agreeing to a contract. If you are working with an agent, they will sign on your behalf. If you are not working with an agent, then you have to sign the contract. I mean, you'll sign it anyway, but you have to agree to the contract. Like you agree to it. Um, You sign it usually when you're in person, when you do a job for TV film. Sherry Lynn, I'm glad it's your first time, and I love taking my time for all of you. So welcome. So the contract will tell you how much you're getting paid for how long, um, for if you work more than one day, you get paid more. It's not just like a lump sum for TV and film and commercials. Some TV, some commercials are, and some film are non-union, meaning that they are not being run with union members, and that's great. That's how you get your first job sometimes. Those, I can't say exactly how those will run, but they usually run pretty similar, except that the pay is different. Um, so for TV film commercial, when you're doing in the US, SAG-AFTRA, and in Canada, it's a different union. Sue from Tulsa, Oklahoma, first time. I'm so happy it's your first time. So look, people get to hear this for the first time. That's great. Uh, so when you do work, you will find out what your rate is. That's how much you're getting paid. It is like a lump sum usually, but it's actually they divide it when you work divided by 8 hours, and then you get overtime. So that day rate divided by 8 or 10 hours, whatever the contract is. Then if you work overtime, then you get that amount. That's like a ridiculous amount, like $172 an hour. You get that overtime, which is nice if they keep you overtime. And at first, it's like I think the first 2 hours are time and a half, and then after that, it's like double time. So they don't want to be keeping you; they want to send you home. So normally you do, but if things go crazy and there's a star that just can't hit their mark, and you got to be there for 15 hours. Just know that with a union job, you'll be getting paid. So that's a good thing. Okay, so you figure out the contract. Sometimes there's travel involved. So if there's travel involved, you always have to make sure that you're just in talks with production. Production are the people who are running this whole shebang, this whole, you know, get together that we call making magic on screen. So the producers will figure out. I recently did this. It was a train trip. So they can hire different things. If you were hired and you live within a certain region that has film and television that's pretty prevalent, which also then includes commercials, then they will bring you wherever you need if you can get to somewhere in that region. For example, if you work in the New York region and you don't want to drive to the job because it's say it's in upstate, say it's in New Jersey, say it's in Long Island, say it's in Connecticut, and I don't have a car. So I would have to rent a car if I were to go. No. What they do is usually they will hire vans They will rent vans and they will hire drivers that'll be part of the crew. And they will pick people up, crew members, actors, to all at one time early in the morning, and they'll bring you to base camp, which when you shoot on location, like a space that's not a studio, that's your base camp. It is the spot like in a parking lot where they set up makeup, hair, all of the trailers, the costuming, and the kind of office space for them, the producers. And then there's always a food truck there for breakfast and for snacks. And craft services is also there. So craft services, if you don't know, are snacks to have whenever you're working, making you nice and fat because you're not shooting right now. So let's go get some M&Ms. Honestly, you can always get snacks. But I say go for the granola. Go for the tea. Don't go for the soda. I mean, go for whatever you want. Just know after a while, I will get so sick of all of the snacks. Um, and you're going to be there for a bit. So just, pace yourself. It's free. You can have as much as you want. So the transportation is provided in that way by a bus, but like you're within a region that you can get to. If they hire you and they know you don't live there and they want you to travel, for example, I live in New York City. So New York City is the region, but if I lived in New Jersey, it's still New York City is the region. Um, they wanted me to do a job in Baltimore, Maryland. And so they gave me a train ticket. I just had to make sure I gave them my correct information, my date of birth, just so that they can put all your name in and they send you a ticket. And then you have that ticket. You better be on that train. You better not miss it. They're probably not going to buy you another one. You're going to have to buy it if you're late. Um, so just make sure, you always are very upfront. If it's international travel, you just have to have a passport. So if you want to work and you enjoy travel, there are jobs that are available. There are cruises that they hire you to be the person on the cruise. You might need a passport for that. And then there's work in other countries. So just if you don't have a passport right now, look into it. Get yourself a passport card, get yourself a passport book. Because if they do hire you and they pay for the travel, they're going to need that, and it's tough to get it really fast. Okay, especially if you've robbed all those banks. Not saying you did, but just joking. And if you did rob banks, I don't judge you. It's cool. Um, so you have a much funner life than I do. So that's the first part is like getting there, logistics, figuring out what you're going to be. I do. Yeah. I don't know. I've taken things from candy stores before. Anyway, we're moving on. Uh, Once you're on set, you will meet the producers. Sometimes you'll meet the director, but maybe you don't meet them right off. And then you'll meet the costuming, the hair and makeup. Sometimes you don't meet hair and makeup until the day of the shoot. But usually you'll go for a fitting. And a fitting is great because you get paid to go early to be fitted for your outfit. It's called a costume, even though half the time it's going to look just like this. Most things are set in present day time and they're not fantastical. They're not comic books. They're not fantasy. They're not sci-fi or horror. So most of the outfits that you'll be wearing look just like the outfits you would wear. They just want to make sure that they fit you. Uh, you just want to make sure that it fits you, that it looks good on you. They take pictures of you. That's like the first part of it. And then you'll meet the producers. You'll definitely get a rundown of all of the things you need to do for the shoot that day. If you're traveling, they have usually come in a day ahead of time so that you can do all of that right before. And then there's the shoot time, how many days that is. And then you'll have the travel day after that. So Sometimes it's you have to think about it, like travel days or 2 days, depending on how far you're going. So that those are all of the things. Yeah, just slip them 100. They'll take care of it. Thank you. Thank you, Edwin. So you just want to make sure that you are honest about the time that you're available, because if you are unavailable for a day, like your daughter's getting married, then that's a day you don't say you're available that day, because uh, if they need to shoot and they've asked you for this audition, are you available? And you said yeah, because you want to book it, you know. So, you got to be careful. You don't want to upset your daughter on her wedding. On this, the day of your daughter's wedding. So, all the logistics happen, you figure out what's going on, and then you get to the actual like day of shoot. Production is going on. You're brought to the set. There's going to be a production assistant that is someone who works within the production, that's the producers. A production assistant is going to be your handler. If you have and this is if okay again let me go back. This is if you are a uh, um, you're hired because you're speaking a line or you're the main character of the. If it's a commercial with no words, that's fine. You're still going to. This is if you are the main character or you are the co-star for the day. Usually if you have dialogue, but for commercials, you don't have to have dialogue. It just means that you are the one. Think about car companies. Like you're driving around in a car, you're not saying anything, but you're still the principal. That's called the principal. Background is a different deal. You will learn about that, but some of the things apply, some of the things don't apply. But when you are a principal performer and you are hired with the contract that you get paid a certain amount and you show up, then the production assistant is going to be your handler. They're going to bring you to your trailer or to your dressing room if it's at a studio. If it's at a studio, you actually get somewhere inside. If not, it's outside, but it's heated. It's inside of a trailer with many different things where there's a restroom that you share, and that's where you'll go from place to place. They'll bring you to, first of all, they get your breakfast order and they bring it to you, which is very sweet. And then they bring you to uh, do your hair and makeup. And I'm sorry to say this, for women, it's probably going to take a lot longer. And to do hair and makeup, men, if you have to have any kind of prosthetics or aged makeup or wounds or anything like that, still a lot of time. But for just everyday makeup, women take a little bit longer. It usually involves they want to maybe add a little curl to your hair. They want to do full makeup. Men, it doesn't take usually as long. That's just the way it goes. Just know that. Just be aware. And then after that, your costume will usually be hanging up in your trailer. You will change into that, be ready. They'll come and take a look at you. They'll take a picture. And then you wait for them to bring you to the set. And all of this depends on all of it. So let's say the first scene doesn't involve you, but it's raining. And so they gotta get it in between rain or when it's not so heavy or when the sun comes out a little bit. So that could take a while. And they planned for it to be done in an hour, but it took 2 hours. So that extra hour, you don't work. That's what I'm saying. You're getting paid from when you get there, but you may not work right off because it all depends on everything depends on everything. Everything affects everything. So once they are really ready for you, then they will come and get you. They'll lead you to where it is. Sometimes you'll get in a van, they'll drive you off. Sometimes they'll just walk you there, if it's on a studio set. And then that is where you get to meet the director. You get to meet lots of the other producers. And you get to meet all of the crew, the cinematographer, the person who's in charge of making it look good. Like what do we see? And then all of the people who do the sets, the lighting, the costuming that are on set. They're the dressers on set. the art direction. They set up everything. They make everything look beautiful. I'm going to go through a list of all the people you will be meeting and what their kind of jobs are. And then you'll do whatever scene it is. If it is for, yeah, no matter what. If it's this is for things that are shot like a film. Okay. So, um, live studio audience TV shows, which are usually comedies, and those are usually on the West Coast. Those have a different schedule, but still, you can imagine similar. But if that's more like set up where you rehearse and then you have time in front of the live audience where they tape it. So that's the main difference. But when you're shooting everything else that's not a sitcom in front of a live audience, you shoot it like a film. And when you shoot it like a film, they will have many different types of shots they will do. They will do the wide shot, which is, the full scene, establishing shot. And then they will do a closer shot, like a three-quarter of the scene. And then they do individual shots. So it would be a shot of me, and it would be either over the shoulder, it would be a close-up, and then they turn the whole thing around, and then they do the other way. So when you're there, you get into your spot and you do your scene. You'll do whatever. If you're the one that's not being taped at that moment, don't don't I mean, be acting and doing your job, but don't cry. If you're seeing you gotta cry, wait till you get to wait till the camera's on you so you can cry when it's needed, you know? So just know you gotta be there and be doing your job, but then when it's on you is when they actually capture you, and that's when you get to do your acting. I mean, you're going to be acting the whole time, but this is this is you. This is what they're going to be. They will see of you when they're editing it together. So they will do one side, then the other side, and then they'll move on to if you're in another scene with another set piece or even just the same set piece, they have to strike everything, move the lights, get it over here, and then do that scene. So you do it bit by bit. You do every part that they can do within that section, and then they stop and you move and then they put it all together later. Like you don't have like it's not like a play where you do the whole play straight through. You do the whole scene straight through every time, but that's just that scene that specifically is set in that spot. Because once you move a little bit, or you can't do the same. You have to change everything, and film it. So you kind of just get used to doing the same scene over and over again, like you would for theater every night. But you just do it instead of doing it every night in a row for a month. You do it 5 times, this way, 5 times that way, 5 times that way. So it's almost like you're doing a run of theater, but you're doing it contained and you're doing it within one day. And then if there's anything that needs to happen, you don't do anything when you're on set. You do your job. You don't touch anything that you have not been told you can touch. For example, sometimes there's firearms that are used, weapons, knives and guns. I mean, we watch FBI shows and cop shows and NCIS, all these shows that involve that. Okay. So and then there's films that have think of John Wick, how much violence is in there, but there's just action movies and just real life things that aren't action movies that deal with violence. So whenever there is a weapon, there is someone there who is in charge of it, and they talk to you when you are the one holding it, but they also talk to you as someone who had a gun pointed at them for FBI Most Wanted. They will, show you there is nothing in here. They put it up to the light to show you. You can see through it. They open everything up. They show you. And you're like, but good. And then there's also other ones that aren't even real. They can't even do the thing like the pull back. They're just to be held. Those are practically heavy rubber. So those don't even have a place where a gun, it's not even a device. It's not a, like, it's an object. So there should be someone there to help you and be there for you, and to make sure you understand everything. If for I was tied up for my scene because I was a hostage, so I got to experience someone being there to make sure that we were comfortable, but also looked like we were tied up. So all of that is happening, and there's lighting and there's sound and there's the people in charge of the set design, which is the art direction, and then there's the costumer making sure it looks good, and the hair and makeup, they do last looks. So all of those people are people that you work with. They are your coworkers. You are just as important as them, and they are just as important as you. All of it, everyone together. And I highly recommend just becoming friends with the crew. Yes, you're going to become friends with the actors because you're going to be sitting together for a while, and usually you all hang out and have fun. But get up and walk around and go and stand outside and like, talk to them. They're human beings just like you. They're not in charge. They're not better than you because they work all the time. You're not better than them because you're the actor and you're on screen. Everyone's great usually. So once you get to know everyone, you realize they work on something for usually an extended period of time. And if it's commercials, they usually are the same crew that does many different commercials, even if it's not a long shoot. But for TV and film, they're together for months at a time. And so they're a family. And so just like hang out and get to know the family. Get to know all these weird, fun people that you get to work with. Don't try to be, bet I'm an actor and I just sit over here. Yes, you may be nervous, and that's fine. But help your nerves by going and talking to someone, asking about their life, asking how long they've done, where do you live? Like, whatever. Isn't it crazy this weather that we had this morning? Whatever. Any way you can. Talk about sports. Talk about something you saw, a play you saw, or a book you read, or whatever. Talk to them like they're people, because then you'll calm down. And also, they help you out then. Like everyone's there to help you out, but if you act like you're better than them, because I know some actors do, then it's not going to go well for you. They are in charge of making you look good, by the way. So, and the crew is awesome. Like the crew's, I love them. I always love the crew. I always have fun with the crew. I always have a good time. Get to know them. When you're at lunch, don't just sit with all the actors. Sometimes talk to the crew. Um, that being said, lunch is also a very important part. Everyone will break for lunch. And then you all usually go together to a location that they have catering. Usually there's catering for lunch, and you will enjoy that. And um, then if it goes long enough, they have to get you dinner too. But usually they try to finish it so you don't have to worry about dinner. So usually they'll take care of breakfast for you. There's someone there to make he's like a short order cook. Um, and Bob, you're right. If you communicate with the crew, they give referrals in the future. It's all about working with people, getting along with them. And if you get along with them and you're not a jerk and you are fun and just yourself, really, and everyone is fun. Everyone has things to offer as a person. Um, It's not about getting it right or being serious and everything has to be this way. It's more about just like getting along with people. Um, so they do refer, and you do end up working with the same people a lot, and that's nice and it feels good. So that's my communication is key. That's right, Virginia. And Shannon, it is good to ask for advice. It's always good. Just let people know this is my first time. I just want to make sure I understand everything, because they'll use all these terms. I'm going to go through some terms, okay? So just know I'm going to go through some stuff, but there'll be things that they say that maybe no one else says. And so you just have to be like, I didn't understand what that meant. Am I supposed to know what that meant? And then they'll help you. Don't be too proud. Okay. All right, now I'm going to go through some things. Okay, so one thing that you're going to deal with is continuity. So, in continuity is when you are arranging the shots of a film. So, a shot is not just a scene, it's like the angle that you're shooting the scene of. So, there's many different shots that make up a scene, many different scenes that make up a film. So, it creates the impression that time is uninterrupted and that the space is continuous. So, it's the responsibility of the script supervisor. They are the scripty. They want to make sure that continuity is maintained between the takes. So the actors are always wearing the same clothes, the same jewelry, the same hairstyle. If a candle or a cigarette is half burned down, it has to be the same. So without the visual continuity, the movie just becomes a series of like juddering, jarring moments, and it takes the audience out of it. So you want to have the illusion that the movie is depicting real life. But like I said, you're doing a shot, you're doing a shot, you're doing a shot, and it takes hours to do something that is 5 minutes. So that is not real life. So you have to film and make sure that you're doing you're giving the impression of continuity. So they take careful notes. And then a digital camera they use to just take pictures, like with their phone, just to make sure that they know what it is every time. And then they do a photo of the actors before and like in the end of each shot, just to make sure that there's changes. They also make sure that if there's any changes in the dialogue, like if they have you improvise, that they can know which take had the improvisation. Um, so there's four different kinds of continuity, okay? So there's acting continuity, props continuity, costume continuity, and then the 180 line, which I'll go with that. So actors need to do the same action and say the same line in different shots and different takes. You know, you get actors um, may pick up a glass with the right hand and then wave with their left hand. And then they shoot a close up and the actor picks it up with their left hand and they wave with their right hand. And then you edit the two shots together and you see how terrible it looks. It's creepy. Um, Kai, I'll get to that. I'll get to that. Um, yeah. So like you can do it on purpose and it's funny if it's meant to be a gag, but that's why they need to have someone that's a professional there to make sure that you do it again. You got to just make sure you have it. Like you got to make sure you do so many takes if you're going to not care about continuity to make sure that you have it for editors. You know, you got to be aware of all the things you do. Um, so if your continuity is really good, it means that your close-ups get more screen time. So that's another thing. You got to make sure that you do that. So, okay, costumes. So you got to make sure that there's someone there to make sure that the costume has continuity. You know, the wardrobe department does that. Um, so you just need to be very good about they do this, but like they make sure that your shirt is in the same way. If it's unbuttoned here, it's unbuttoned there. If you rolled up the sleeve here, it needs to be the same rolled up. Props, everyone, I mean, there should never be anything on set that's not supposed to be there. And also, if I move my phone like this, like it can't be over here 2 seconds later. You know, it has to be in the same spot. And then there's something with the 180-degree line. So the 180-degree rule is it's a basic guideline and it's about spatial relationship between a character and another character or a character and an object. So I'm just going to read this to you because gets a imaginary line called the axis connects the characters, and by keeping the camera on one side of this axis for every shot, the first character will always be frame right of the second character, who's always frame left of the first. If the camera passes over the axis, it's called jumping the line or crossing the line. And this rule just allows the audience to visually connect with what's happening. and allows them to understand immediately who the subject is and who's talking. So, um, let me show you what this looks like, what I'm talking about here. One second. Sorry, I have a good little shot here. So, I'm going to share this so you can see it. Okay. So, in dialogue scene between two characters, Matthew's in the orange shirt, and then frame left in the dialogue, and James is in the blue shirt, frame right. The camera may be placed anywhere on the green arc, and the spatial relationship between the two will be consistent from shot to shot. So you can put it anywhere on that right side if that's where you start shooting. Um, and then if you shift to the other side, then James is now on the left side and Matthew's on the right, and it disorients the audience. So just car chases too. If a vehicle leaves the right side of the frame in one shot, it should enter from the left side of the frame in the next shot. So like it creates a way for us to make sense of it. So these are just things that they're going to talk about. Like don't break, like you got to remember the 180 rule. Like that's just something that they talk about a lot. Uh, so Kai asked, what if it's something that's caught on camera that went well but can't be rehearsed? Improv happens all the time, but they're going to get what they need and then they'll have you improvise. Even when you're improvising, just know that you should try to do some of the same physical things. Because if you change the physical thing and you say something different, then they can't use that one because your cup was in the right hand and then it went to the left hand. This is very basic things of remembering how many steps you took. You just gotta like try to be present and also not present. It's a very strange thing. And Bob asks, is holding your mark from the cut for a retake not a good idea to remember? It's good to remember where you were, and they'll often tape where you're supposed to be. So they're also that you have to remember certain things, but then they're there to help you. If it's a small budget, they're not going to always be there to help you. So that's where you get to learn when you make all these mistakes as an actor. All right. So that is all about continuity. Just to explain, when you hear that, that's what it means. So now I'm going to tell you about the different people you're going to come into contact with. So um, the but like the people that you're going to meet that deal with acting services in a way. So if you hire an acting coach, there's someone, if you have a big film that they may be like, you need to have an acting coach with you on set. So you hire them and you pay them to make sure that you're all set. And also sometimes people hire them for auditioning. But like sometimes people have their acting coach on set. They're their teacher. Like if it's a big scene and they need to really like nail it, they'll hire them to come in that day. And then you have the casting assistant, casting director. These are all the people that get you all set. Dialect coaches are hired to make sure that everyone has the same dialect for a film. And then a choreographer is there to make sure that if there's action sequences or dancing, fighting, things like that, that there's coordination between all the actors. If there's animals on set, then you need either an animal wrangler who's taking care of the animal that's going to be there, like that knows how to do things, like a monkey that can like jump on someone's shoulder or like a cat that has to could do something. And then there's livestock coordinator. So that's like a herd. That's like animals, big animals. Art department. The art director is in charge of everything. So they deal with the production designer and they design and construct the movie set itself. They're assistants to the production designer, but the art director is there to like make sure that everyone who's doing their job, it looks and it feels what they need it to feel like. Carpenters, pretty basic. They construct and build the sets. This is all different kinds of sets. So walls, other types of big construction pieces. There's the person who does the concepts. They illustrate it. So they can also do a 3D computer generated model. They get everything all drawn out so that you may not see them on set. You definitely see the set builder and the construction coordinator. They make sure that everything is done well and it has integrity. There's the production designer themselves. They work with the director and they do the look and feel of it. They may not be on set to actually um, like be there. But if it's a big deal, they need to be there to make sure everyone else is doing their job. So the scenic artists, they do all the set surfaces. Sometimes they like paint and plaster and color. So it's really kind of cool because they need to make it look like it's stone or wood, and they'll make it look like that, in the set. And then the storyboard artist really, you'll see the storyboard sometimes, but it is something that is there to help you understand how it's going to go. Like this scene's going to look like this, and then this scene is going to happen. And they pretty much make what all the scenes are going to look like with drawings. And then there's the people who run the camera. The cinematographer is a director of photography, and they're in charge of it. They're on set. Um, they're like making it, but they don't actually like, move stuff around usually. What they get is a first assistant camera and then a second assistant camera. So the first uh, uh, assistant, it's the chief assistant to the camera operator. So the camera operator are the people that are just like making sure that the camera is doing what it's supposed to be doing. Um, they measure all the things. Like whenever there's a focus that like things are moving and it needs to focus on something, they have it all taped and measured. It's very cool to watch. And then there's someone that just loads and unloads film, and that's the second camera assistant. And then there's someone, if it's digital, there has to be someone that is like doing all the data. So like they take the cards, they label them, format them, do all that stuff. And then there's someone that is the technician sitting on the computer making sure they do that. And then if there is anything that needs to be done Steadicam, where someone is it's on their person, so that's a lot of stuff now. So there's a Steadicam operator, it's a mounting device, and it makes it very smooth. And then the directors, so there's the main director, there's the leading creative artist. They work directly with the actors on performance. And they control almost everything that has to do with the film. And then the first assistant director, they work with the production manager and the director to make the schedule. So they like do the schedule, break down the script, and they figure out everything that's going to happen. And they also sometimes help direct the background actors, the extras. And then the second assistant director, they make the call sheets for the day. I'll show you what a call sheet is in just a little bit. It has all the information that you're going to need with everything. And then they manage the scheduling of the talent, the crew, and the equipment. So they like schedule who's going to be there every single day. You'll talk to them because they'll be like, we need you here at this time. There's craft services. They are the ones that have snacks and beverages throughout the day. Caterer is the one who feeds you for the meals. And then these are all the people that are dealing with grip. So they're there to like set up and operate the mechanical, the crane, and operator is there to set up and operate the mechanical camera crane. It's like a jib arm. It's used for like those establishing shots where it like goes up and over. It's very like, cinematic. So that's one person that does that. And then the dolly grip, it's a camera dolly, and it's a small, so it's like a rolling cart. And it has a boom arm, so it's like mounted to it. And so those are really fun because when you're on the dolly, they like make a little track. And so like it goes on the track, and then the camera gets to pan and go over. And then the grip is someone who shapes the light. So the electricians make the light, and then the grip are the ones that they turn that light into whatever they need using different kind of diffusing and blocking, and they set everything up so that the mood of the light is what they need. And the key grip is the person who's in charge of all of that. And then with lighting, this is someone who's in charge of setting up all of the lights and the electrical aspect of it. So there's the gaffer, it's the chief lighting technician. They're develop the lighting plan and they talk to the director of photography. What do we need? Oh, we need this light. Oh, we'll get it all set up. And then an electrician, they're the ones who set it all up and they get it all ready and they get the light in certain places. It's a very physically demanding job. There's a lot of heavy lights, a lot of cables. They got to keep everything together. They got to make sure it doesn't overload or like explode, and they got to keep it out of the shot. And then the best boy is the lead electrician, and they're in charge of all the other electricians. Um, so it's a lot of people around. You have the people who are the location assistant and the location scout. They just find all the locations you're going to use. You don't always come into contact with them, but they're the people that are in charge of making sure the location that you have on set is what they need. Then you get hair and makeup. There's the hairdresser and the makeup artist. Like I said, you get to see them before and then they're going to be there throughout. And then the producers, this is all the people in the production. The producer is like the top position. It's one of the top positions. They're in charge of the entire thing. They hire everyone. They get the funds for the movie. They hire all of the different kinds of people that are involved. The production assistant is a PA. They start out their careers that way. You know, they come in and they need to hold the walkie-talkies. They need to set up the tables and tents. They need to, watch the actors. And then the production coordinator is they coordinate behind the scenes. So they do all the logistics. If you'll see people that are like calling people, hiring, doing this, they're coordinating it in the background. And then there is props. These are all the pieces that aren't the set that are used and held and can be moved in and out. So there's the prop builder, there's the set decorator, there's the set dresser. The prop builder makes the props and sculpts them. The props assistant, they like place and organize them throughout the day. Um, the set decorator is the one that makes the decisions on furnishings and decorations. And then the set dresser is there to make sure that on set that everything is the way it needs to be, like the drapery, fabrics. So they also have to like if things get moved, they got to get back in and move it back. There's the person on the script. You'll meet them. They're often called scripty. They're the script supervisor. Sometimes the screenwriter is there. You'll get to know them. If you work something with a teleprompter, there'll be someone who runs a teleprompter. And then for sound, there's the sound mixer, and they're going to be listening to you. And then there's the boom operator. They're the ones that hold the boom. So if someone will put a microphone on you, and they will be the one that is mixing it for video and for film. If you get special effects, then you need to sit for makeup and prosthetics with that. Also, there's someone there for firearms and pyrotechnics. So that's, like I said, it's the armor, the one that's going to make sure you're okay. If there's any stunts, you got to make sure there's a driver, there's a stunt coordinator, the person in charge of coordinating all the people that are doing the stunts. And then there's the stunt performers. Like, I'm not doing that. Get my stunt performer. And then there's wardrobe. The costume designer designs all the costumes. They're the ones that can win an award. And then the costume assistant is probably the one you're going to be dealing with. They're the one that actually dresses you. Ooh, that's a lot. There's a lot of people. All right. The author, I don't remember what this is from. The author when it's based on a book or the gaming creator when it's based on a video game. I don't know what that was in reference to. I'm sure either one. Do they use drones for high, fast camera angles like a rooftop fight? Or do they use faster cars and helicopters? I'm sure they use drones now. Like the drones can do it, like they don't need to have a helicopter. Sometimes the people who wrote the book are going to be on set, but they may not be on set every day. And sometimes they're not on set because their script has been bought and they have nothing to do with it. But if they are in control of what their piece of art is going to be done on stage and screen, then they will be there because they'll have input. Best and worst actor you worked with. I've enjoyed everyone I've worked with. I haven't had any bad actors. They've all been great. Okay. Now I'm gonna go over some basic terms. So a call sheet. So this is Tanya, you will have to discuss about makeup with the production. If they tell you to show up with makeup, then show up with makeup if it's low budget. But most of them you show up no makeup, your hair plain, just clean and not wet in a bun. Um, and they do it for you. So you just have to talk to the production when they hire you. So a call sheet is has every single thing of information that you're going to need. It's created by the assistant director, and everyone gets it. You get a physical one sometimes, but usually now you get a PDF. And it has everyone listed who's there, going to be working that day, what time they need to get there, which is when their call is, and then where it's going to be. So the different scenes are going to be taking place at different places. Um, and also the nearest hospital, what the weather's going to be like today. Let me see. Example. Um, yeah, so that's definitely something that you'll get used to seeing as a call sheet, and all of them do it a little bit different. Yeah, and Willa said try Alta Beauty. They'll help you set up your makeup pouch. Yeah, if you need to have your makeup for some, go somewhere so they can teach you how to do your makeup because sometimes you have to do your makeup. They have information about when the transportation is, if there's parking instructions, and then restaurants, when you're going to eat, where you're going to eat. All that stuff is on one call sheet, okay? And it'll usually have listed every single person that's cast, crew, and then when and then also like who's going to be needed for the cast in what scenes. So coverage, this is the amount of footage that is shot. So you hear people say we need more coverage. It doesn't mean that they need to shoot more, like get it all. They just need it's the amount of footage shot at different angles. So you want to get enough coverage. You want to be able to get, like I said, the wide, the closer wide, the over the shoulder on A, the over the shoulder on B. You want to get all of that, and so that it really helps you out so that when you're editing, there's more footage to make the final cut. Um, So a frame, it refers to the smallest unit of film. So it's like originally a film strip, but it's digital now. So a frame is really like you could click through every single little bit of second of movement. That's a frame. So they're talking about a frame. So mark, it's like when a scene has been blocked and rehearsed, it's time to mark it. They put down tape. So they're going to mark it or chalk marks. And so then you have your position of where you need to be. And usually it's different color for different performers. Um, Sometimes they'll do a montage, which means the way you see it in film. So it's like a series of shots edited together to show an activity evolving in a short amount of time. Like there's the shopping montage, and there's the cleaning up montage. So it could actually take you a full day to film all of these scenes, and then they're going to turn it into a minute or two. That's what a montage is. So outtakes, I think we know that it's like they're shot, but it's like leftover footage, and that's where the funny stuff is usually. Um, so room tone. So sometimes you all have to be quiet. Everyone has to be quiet because there's ambient sound that exists everywhere. There's a humming or something. There's always ambient sound. So it's the sound of the room without any movement or dialogue. So they'll have a time where everyone needs to stop moving, everyone needs to stop talking, and we're going to get a couple of minutes of that room tone. So that happens. Sometimes you're able to see the rushes or the dailies, and that is footage that is um, shown on a screen so you can watch what you just shot. So it's kind of great. You like see what happened so that then everyone knows that they got it. Um, so they slate. This is something that happens. They have the uh at the beginning of a take, they have you know, you're gonna kiss the slate. It's like Yeah, because it's like we're ready to start. So when you slate, it has the scene has all of the information written on it, um, and it's a little clapper that makes a little clicking noise. So it has this. This is all the information that it says, so that whoever is editing it can see it right there, and they say it out loud. So it has the name of the production, the director, the scene, and then the shot. So each scene has many different shots, and um, you're talking about like with camera, like there's the angle. So it's the angle of view relative to the subject. So it's at like what angle is it like? Are you yeah, like the angle is based on how the subject is looking. Um and when you're saying camera left, it's towards the left side of the screen. Camera right is to the right side of the screen. When you pan, I think I said that it's like when you move the camera like this, or moving it on a tripod like that. Tilting is when the camera moves down and up. And then you can also zoom in and out. So the whole scene is either going in or out, zooming in or out. And I think these are different kinds of shots. When the subject is circled by the camera, like Michael Bay, that's an arc shot. An establishing shot is this beginning of the scene. It shows the locale. It's the beginning of a film. It's like it shows the whole space. And then there's the close up. It's the close up to the subject, so only the subject is seen. A crane shot is taken from a crane, so it's like a huge establishing shot, or at the end of a scene. Um, a dolly shot is when it moves. The camera's no longer stationary and it moves on like a little like a train track, pretty much. An extreme close up is pretty much just like the eyes and mouth, like this. Only the eyes or only the mouth. Um, long shot, it's the entire character object from head to foot. It's not. It's like a wide shot. The master shot, um, the entire scene shot from beginning to end, just with all of the like everything. Like it's the one that you shoot from the side that shows all of the action. That's the master shot. And then you get that, and then you do the close-ups and the medium shot. So you do medium shot, medium close-ups. Um, you do over the shoulder. It shows a little bit of the person's shoulder who's, talking to them. So yeah, these are all things that you will definitely um, like experience. I think I talked a lot. So I think we're all done. The Matrix, yes, that does a lot of those shots I was talking about. Alicia, thank you for thinking this was a good class. Have a good one. I hope everyone had a good time. It's 7 o'clock already. You just had to listen to me talk all that time. I can't believe you all stayed. But hopefully you understand a little bit of what it's like, and it's not so stressful for when you are cast in the future. You're welcome, Bob. You're welcome, Kai. And Denise, stay safe with the storm as well in Rhode Island, okay? And I'm glad you thought it was great, Denise. Thank you. You're welcome, Taja. You're welcome, Suzanne. Uh, and you're welcome, Susan. You're welcome. Oh, thank you, Willa. I'm glad you thought it was good. Tessa, I know it is a lot to take in, but this was recorded, so they'll have it up in the future, okay? You're welcome, Keith. You're welcome, Virginia. Thank you for thinking I'm sweet. Zoom user, you're very welcome. Steve, you're very welcome. You have a great weekend as well. Stay safe. I know it's gonna be cold. Um, yes, I'm glad this is helping you, Shannon. You're very welcome. You stay warm. Craig, you're so welcome. Everyone stay safe, says Tessa. We will do. Sherry Lynn, I'm glad you thought it was informative. I'm glad you thought it was great. Michaela, Oh, I'm so glad that this is calming to know a little bit more, and you're very welcome. iPhone, you're welcome. Yes, stay warm, everyone, and be blessed. James, you're so welcome. Stay warm to you. You're welcome, Jessica. You have a great night. Tanya, thank you. My next class will be next Friday, so will be something else I talk about. Bill, you're so welcome. Suzanne, glad you thought it was great. Harrison, glad that you loved the webinar. You're welcome. Right now, I'll be in a commercial for Maryland Lottery. It hasn't aired yet, but that's what the most recent thing I did. But you can watch me on my previous stuff on IMDb. Esther, very goodbye to you as well. Jody, I'm glad you enjoyed it. You're so welcome. Skyrocket, I'm glad you liked it. And Zoom user, you're welcome. I'm glad you thought it was a lot of information. All right, everyone, be safe. Have a great night. Enjoy your weekend. And cool, great. You have a wonderful evening too, Harrison. All right.